Hello guys, it's Cara once again, welcoming you in my channel. Here we are looking at my plant of Lithops. I particularly showing this to you because obviously you can tell that it is flowering. At the minute this plant is nearly finished with its flowering. If you are following my Instagram account, the moment it opened the flower, which is that one, so it's gone finished. That was the first opening of the flower. I was a bit surprised because it lives in my windowsill in my bedroom, and then when I drawn the curtains open, and that was I've seen the opening of the white flower, and straight away I took a picture of it, and I have indeed posted it on my Instagram. Well, these plants, these two of it is, I think, is nearly finished, and that is still flowering. And this plant is oh, upside down, Lithops caras montana. That's the name of this type of Lithops. Other name of Lithops is a living stone. It came from that name because they blend together with the stones where their environment are, and they blend together with their color, and it's one way for them to survive, for the animals, for them not to be detected as their plants, for them not to be eaten by animals in their habitat. They are from in Africa, in South Africa, mostly living. And this plant, this is my first flowering plant, the one that I was holding to you. And then this another one, I have this one, this is my second flowering, and this is the Lithops Leslii albina. It's from South Africa, and there's the same white flower, and that is the plant. And with the rest of the of my Lithops, this is the biggest one I have, and this one is quite smaller. And I'll show you my other Lithops. This is another one. It's in a very tiny pot, and this Lithops hasn't flowered with me yet. I'll show you the name. It's Lithops hookeri dubneri. So that's the name of this Lithops. And another two pots of Lithops. I got these are unnamed, no ID, and another one's no ID. With all the rest of my Lithops that you could see in front of you, this is the only one who's got no soil. It is growing in ceramics and in this clay expanded pebbles, and it's quite expensive. Not expensive as this expanded clay, this pebbles. It's this one, the ceramics, which is I've ordered few years ago in Germany, because I'm a fan of growing orchids mainly, and I bought that one. And obviously I got a lot of extra because I bought a big bag, and I'll just tried it with this Lithops with the rest of it. And because I find it's more expensive, so I bought this the volcanic rock. I can't remember the name. You probably would able to remember. So this is very less soil in there. If you could see, there are mostly like grow, this one, the volcanic rock. So how I care with my Lithops, I don't normally provide them fertilized. I don't fertilize my Lithops I only water them with rainwater, which I collected in my garden. I have 2 tubs of for collection of rainwater, so that's why I use this with all my plants. With Lithops, I don't fertilize them, which is, I don't think it's advisable to really fertilize your Lithops. And this one, I have this one in a bigger pot, and then I transferred this within here. And concerning about watering of Lithops, if the Lithops is growing like this, it's very advisable not to water it, because these old leaves that they have, that's where they're going to take water from it, and energy from, and it would sustain them from growing from this old leaf until to the moment that it's gonna dry up, like this one. This is a dry leaves, which is, I will show you those. You could see that one. This is the, oh, that is the dry leaf of the old the old plant. And the moment it has done that one, and this I hasn't watered it yet for quite some time, because there's one thing that a sign that the plant needs watering. If the plant is quite a bit thicker and very, you know, like plum looking, so that's I don't water my lithops if they're very plum like this one. They're quite plum, so I don't water them. And it's kind of very, very flat and very wrinkly. That's the only time I water my lithops like that. You know, when it started very wrinkly like this, can you see it's wrinkled? That would be the time that I water it. With this type of lithops, which is in one pot, what I do with watering, during the time that these plants are in flower, by the way, that's the time that they need assistance from you. And I don't normally straight away, the moment I see the flower, straight away I go to water it. No, I don't do that. I have to see signs first. You have to be very careful with your lithops, because the only way of killing them is providing water. So yeah, that's how you kill them. So when they show a sign that they needed water, like this bit wrinkled in here, that's the time I would water it. But because it's in the same pot, I got this syringe, tiny one, you know, from the medication that's the kids, like this. You know, when you have a paracetamol, this is Nurofen. I'm not providing any. This video is not being paid by this type of medication. Anyway, I've used this, and then I took some water from it, and I just put some a tiny drop where closer by where the plant is that needed water, which is the trouble, which is the disadvantage with in the same pot, because even though this plant I bought in a very big large pot and I transfer them all together in the same pot, the disadvantage is, if this like this, what happened with this one, like for example, like what happened to this is, during the time that this plant needed water, and then I dropped some water in it from the sides. Obviously you cannot really control the distribution of water underneath, so it normally spread out, and that's happened to this one. Instead of this one will be absorbed by this new growth, it's still looking very, very thick, which is not really nice look. I don't really like to look at it. So that's the only disadvantage of growing them all together in the same pot. They're not quite big lithops. This is my my nail, and they're quite similar size with my nail. So I'm only 5 foot, and I got small hands, so that's only the size of my nail. They're not quite very big plant. They're very nice to look at, really. Some people are some of my friends, but they are not they're you know, you got friends that are not really particular with plants, and they don't like this one because they said it's a brain plant. Where did you get it? And my children calls it a butt plant. But it's quite interesting and something different, and I haven't seen this plant before, and that's put an interest into me. And if you see it to yourself, and if you see this plant, it is very exciting to look at. and the moment that you made it flower, that's another thing, like feeling of achievement from you. If I feel like, for me, I feel like that I've done something good with this plant. And it's really something that's worth to have a go with. And if you're still uneasy to grow this plant, don't buy all the lots. You buy one at a time, and then from that on you have to you know observe yourself, or a bit of experiment, not in a way that experimenting or putting a lot of water in it. So no, I'm not saying that. Experiment growing it and looking after it, and then if you can, then you can now expand to more to your collection. um, for my point of view, it's far easy. I find myself looking after this plant easier than the other plants like ferns, because ferns for me does really needed a lot of attention. It doesn't need it to be dried out, or else it'll die in its humidity and things. This plant, it's honestly, it's thrives with neglect. And yeah, and it doesn't even particularly like not even advised to fertilize this. Yeah, so the thing is, if you fertilize this plant, it'll go bigger and bigger, from what I could think, and that's only my perception, obviously. And I rather have my plants in their natural habit of growing. So yeah, guys, what I am going to say is have a go growing lithops, and sure enough, you will not be disappointed. And if you have a collection of cactus and succulent, so yeah, I think you could have a good go with this type of plants. So yeah, guys, I think I have to end my videos, and I hope you enjoy this episode of my video. So I got to say goodbye, and I hope I would inspire you one day that you were gonna grow a lithops or a living stone. And thank you for watching, and hopefully you, if you get any questions, you can always drop me a comment down below. So thank you and goodbye. God bless. Bye.